knowledge puffeth up a novice. And you do get pumped up sometimes, man, but you gotta kind of like watch yourself. You gotta examine yourself. It's pride to come in.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you riding your own wave, like my man, what is it, the leader of the security camp, Al-Azhar. He's out there and he's doing it, man.
Yeah.
You know, he got too much confidence. It's good to have a good reasonable amount of confidence. When you got too much confidence, that can deter you away from the truth. Like certain guys I know also down here in England.
Yeah, to have that willful spirit as well, because you can get carried away with that, and if you bite off more than you can chew, and you know you have, then you're gonna have to try and live up to it all the time.
Yeah.
The thing with there's an instance with Peter when they said that with Yahawashi said that he would never forsake him. Peter was bold, but he really believed it. He said, "No, I will never forsake you, Yahawashi."
Yeah.
But you know what happened? He forsook him. He said, "After midnight, you're going to forsake me about 3 times. After 3 times after the cock crow, you're gonna denounce me 3 times." And he said, "Nah, I never do that." And then exactly what happened? Overconfidence. That happens a lot in sports, in boxing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the big talkers, you know. And then when they're in the ring, they don't.
It's a whole different ballgame.
A lot of it is psychological, but at the same time, you got to be true to yourself as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Because, I mean, when you get overly confident, you just miss the plot entirely. Like they say up north, you miss the plot. You just miss the point. The point is, it's not about you. It's about you doing the Father's will, like Yahawashi. Yahawashi knew it wasn't about him. This is why when they wanted them to be king, where did he go? He ran into the mountains and hid in the mountains to get away from all of this malarkey that was going around that time, because he was healing people and people loved him so much. Certain people wanted him to become king, but he ran into the mountains because it wasn't his time. So we have to have the same mindset where we have to be shown some form of humbleness.
Yeah, if I could just say, because
stay grounded, going, bro.
Yeah, because the elder apostle Gabar said this is a marathon run, and some man could do quicker, you know, but don't try and keep up with the next man.
Yeah, just run at
do it at your pace, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is 1 Corinthians 9 and 24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all?
Exactly.
But one receiveth the prize.
And I'm gonna be honest too, man. Sometimes, you know, I be feeling like, damn, man, like shit. I wish I could be on that brother's level when it comes to, you know, the videos and that. But I'm just putting myself out there. You know what I mean? I don't normally do that, but I'm putting myself out there because the intention is for me to be better. I want to be just as good and better. So I mean, in a sense, it's good to do that because you want to grow. You see the growth that you want to be. But eventually, in due time, that's going to come. But going back to what you were saying, brother, that's the way you gotta be. You gotta run at your own pace. Every brother has their own pace. You may not be as fast as this guy. You may not be as good as this guy. But as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, go on, bro. I tell you what, before you talk, I want this brother to read this. Finish this.
Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain.
Right.
And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
Yeah.
Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainty. So fight, I, not as one that beateth the air.
Yeah.
But I keep my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
So you have to be subjugated to the will of the Lord, basically. At your own will, at your own pace. Not your own will, but your own pace. Your own strength. Alright, because this brother may have been given more. Again, let's go back to what was said in 25, Matthew 25 about the talents. Some brothers were given more talents than other brothers. But you gotta use those talents that he gave you.
Yeah.
All right? And the guy that has more talents, he's more responsible because he obviously has more ability. So it's for him to put in more work. All right? Because the Lord can give you the Most High when He gives you what He knows you can do. The Lord ain't gonna give you something you can't do. You know? Go on, bro.
Okay, I'd just like to add something to what you're saying. Basically, when it comes to learning things, in my own experience, what I learned is that there's a way that seems right to the world, but the Most High deals in a different way. For example, the world thinks that in order to get wisdom, you have to go out and do this and do that, you know, move with this people and meet that person. You know what they say, like, what do they call it? It's not what, you know, who, you know, they say them kind of things in the world. It's actually the opposite with the Most High. What you have to do is do the reverse. You have to fast and pray more, and then the Most High will open up your mind to wisdom. It's like for example, if you want to get like more knowledge in this truth, you can sit there and like cram read, like, you know, when they're doing a study, you can cram read all this stuff, and then the next thing you forget everything. Whereas in my experience, what I've done was the opposite. I fasted and I prayed more, and then the Most High would just put information in my way. Like, I might not even be looking for it, but there might be like a topic I'm thinking of. Then I see a video on it straight away without having to search. Things like that.
Yeah.
So the Most High deals that way. And here's the precept I want to bring out. It says, the fear of Yahawah is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility, meaning that you have to lower yourself first, and then in due time the Most High will raise you up when He sees fit.
There you go.
Like that.
There you go. And that's self-explanatory. That's self-explanatory because you don't want to come into this truth with the wrong attitude, man. The attitude to have is just to simply fear the Lord, because you know when you was in the world, you did all kind of wickedness. And you know, even though you're in the truth, you know you're still wrong. You're still filthy. You're still messed up. So, I mean, I don't mean to go off topic a little bit, but just knowing those things about you should keep you humble. It shouldn't keep you prideful. Now, you could be confident, you could be faithful, because certain brothers, every brother's different. Certain brothers show a level of confidence in that. But you gotta know where you're standing, man. You can't let this truth get to your head to the point where you start going off and you start teaching other people that you know has been in the faith more than you. You start riding your own way. You can't do that. You have to stay on the mark. You have to stay on the track. The Lord already provided the way for us. So we got to walk in that way. And the more we walk in that way, hey, the Lord will deal with us. But like the brother said, you have to be broken down for you to grow. And even if you're on a higher level, you still show a great level of humility so you can grow even more. Because the whole intent here is to grow. You know? And I'm gonna be honest, man, like me personally, I like the idea of enhancing myself, of growing. As we're supposed to, we're men. We're supposed to desire the idea of enhancing and growing. Like, you shouldn't be the kind of brother where you're not growing. You know, you the same way you was 4 years ago. You the same way you was 6 years ago. No. You're supposed to grow in this thing. Like, I know the way that I was, when I was 3 years in the faith, I was simple, man. I wasn't really on the level. I didn't know shit. Really, just keep it real. You know, I thought I knew something, but I didn't really know nothing. But now that I'm, 10 years and a half in the truth, I know enough. And I look at life differently now. And I take things a bit more seriously now. I'm not as simple as I used to be when I was in the world, worrying about this or worrying about some bullshit. You know, now, we all have a level of simplicity in us. But again, you have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to remain in a state of mind to want to grow. You know, as the days go on, as you're growing in this faith. You're supposed to grow in this faith. As the days you are in this faith, you're supposed to grow. I said it the wrong way. Go on, brother.
This is Isaiah 20. It's Isaiah 28 and 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
Yeah.
Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast.
Yeah, like a baby. A baby needs calcium so that its bones can become stronger and it can grow teeth. Go on.
For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't just speak for myself in saying that. A lot of us thought we had the shit down pat coming in. But as we grew older in the faith, we looked back and we realized, nah, we weren't really on the level as we thought we were. That happens. But that's just that's the goodness of growing in this faith, is that you see things that you didn't see before, and you apply those things that you didn't see. You apply that kind of knowledge you didn't have before. You know, and that's the beauty of getting older in this faith, is that you know more. Even if you in the world, if you an individual, let's say you was 15 years old and you thought a certain way, and you at the age of 30 now, 15 years later, you see the world from a totally different perspective. And then you start to kind of like feel positive about yourself, because it's like, damn, I didn't know this before. I wish I would have known what I know when I was 15. It's like the herbs that I'm getting into, the kind of different medicines I'm getting into, and the diet that I'm obviously getting into. I wish I would have did that when I was 15, 16 years old, not the age 30. I'm 29 going on 30, you know? If I would have known what I've known back then, man, I would have been badass as of right now. Okay, but everything happens in time. Everything happens in time. Everything comes in effect. You become great in due time. All right, because you gotta start somewhere, man. Everybody gotta start somewhere. Go on, man.
This is 1 Peter 1 and 2. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and guile and hypocrisies and envies and evil speakings, as newborn babes,
Go on.
As newborn babes, desiring the sincere milk of the words.
Yeah, because we're being born again. We've been born again. And now we're new people. We're new creatures. So if you've been in the truth 10 years or 11 years, you're 11-year-old. You're not necessarily the age that you physically are. You're a 10-year-old in the faith. So you're still a boy. Basically, we're still boys. Now you have apostles that have been in the faith for 30 to 35 years, the elder apostles that rule over us. So they're grown-ass men in this thing. We're still young boys. All right? And you have brothers that have reached 12 years old, 13 years old. They've now become adults in this thing. That's the age you become an adult, at the age of 12, 13 years old. All right?
Yeah.
So when you reach those double digits, you up there, man. Go on, brother.
Desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so be that ye have tasted that the Lord Yahawashi is gracious.
Absolutely. We have tasted the greatness of the Heavenly Father. And knowing this truth is a beautiful thing. And there's some middle parts of this truth. You can get me that in Revelation the 10th chapter, 10 verse 1. Because when you eat this roll, it's sweet at first, but then it gets bitter. You got bitter precepts that you may not want to take on board. Like, for example, you got the whole Deuteronomy, I believe it's 22 situation, with the whole concept of rape. A lot of people can't take on board on it, because a lot of people have been Europeanized or Edomized, so to speak. They've been told that that's wrong, and rare. I wouldn't allow you to even deal with my daughter like that, because I would kill you. All of this nonsense, but they're more thinking on an Edomized kind of way of thinking. All right, and even the Edomites that have set that kind of tone, they don't even apply that themselves. They're dealing with young children as young as 9, 10, 8 years old. All right, because it's all emotions, man. You got to dead all of that and just take heed to this word. And I remember the apostles used to push that. Used to push this whole idea of holding back your emotions, because your emotions can get in the way of things, and then you start seeing things from your own perspective rather than the truth. Okay, so you can't be emotional. Go on, bro.
This is Revelations 10 and 2. He had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea.
It's like Captain Tazariak, right? But he's a cool brother. He does what he does in Elijah King. But he had a problem with the whole rape situation. He's this high-ranking general, but he had an issue with that scripture. So if you're a high-ranking individual in the truth, you're supposed to have ended the whole role and accepted it all. Like, you got people, what they'll do is okay, you have a plate of food, you have the rice, and then you have your chicken, and you have the gravy, and then you have your vegetables. Some people just eat the rice and the chicken, but they leave off the vegetables. All right, or they'll just eat the chicken and leave the rice and the vegetables, because the rice ain't really tasty enough. You know, it doesn't give you that feel-good factor when you taste something good. So they leave all of that out, and they just eat the thing that tastes good. You can't do that. How can you grow properly if you're just eating things that that are good tasting. A lot of things that are good tasting ain't really good for you. All right? Go on, bro.
This is Mark 8:38. Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me, my words, in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father and with the holy angels. Practically, like you're saying, if you're ashamed of any aspect of this truth, and like the elder said, if you just want to eat the meat and the rice and leave the vegetables, then you're not eating the whole world, and you're ashamed of the words of Yahawashi. So then he's going to be ashamed of you when he comes back.
Because you have men that's in these different camps that are declared high priests, high-ranking generals, but they don't accept certain scriptures, man. A God is a high priest. That's a high title. But to have that kind of title, you have to have eaten the whole roll and accepted everything that is written in the book. Not picking parts of the Bible you don't like, but like the brother just read, whosoever is ashamed of me, the Lord is going to be ashamed of you. The Lord is going to give you pretty much his back, and you're going to be destroyed, man. So I'd rather be the guy that ain't even on no high ranking order, knowing that I've eaten the whole row. Okay? This is about doing it the right way. It's not what you do, it's how it's done, man. That's a saying that we all know in the world. Just because you're doing something, you gotta do it the right way, man. You gotta have the correct kind of attitude. Go on, brother.
Yeah, it's Revelation 10 and
10,
8.
Yeah, 10 and 8, yeah?
And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again and said, Go and take the little book, which is open in the hand of the angel, which standeth upon the sea, upon the earth.
Yeah.
And went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter.
And it shall make thy belly bitter. So there's better parts to knowing this information. The gospel of the kingdom. Knowing that this world is going to come to an end. Knowing that martial law is going to be declared. Knowing that you may be a martyr. You may be put to death for the word of the Lord. So that's kind of bitter to know. But there's also a positive side of all of that. That eventually we're going to receive the rewards written in the book. Okay? So there's that balance. There's a balance to everything. And if you're just one way, then you're unstable. You have to be both ways. You have to be, sometimes you have to be, not sometimes, but there's times when you have to be cool, and there's times you have to be rough. All right? Because you have even brothers that are good, that are decent-minded, and then you have brothers that may not be so decent-minded. Like it says in the book of Peter's. I'll get that later on anyway. Go on, brother. Just like how you got brothers that are strong in the faith, and certain brothers that are weak in the faith. So there's your balance. Once again, go on.
And take it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey.
But it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey, because you know the reward. You know that the kingdom is coming. You know that you're going to have all kind of women. You know that you're going to have servants and slaves. All right, you know you're going to be living in palaces made out of precious stones and expensive wood, or however you want to make your house to be. So that's the sweet part. But we got to go through the bitter first. And what is also the bitter? The bitter is going through this life with this truth. Knowing that the world is against you. Knowing that the world will not see what you're talking about. All right? They won't actually stand side by side of you. And knowing that you're your own man. You're a soldier. Which the word soldier means solitary. It means to be by yourself. So although you may be living with your family members or whatever, you're by yourself. As the scripture says, let every man seek his own salvation with fear and trembling. Even if you're among the brethren, you're doing this for your own. Okay, you're by yourself in this thing. Every man in this truth is by themselves.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter.
Exactly. Go on.
And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations.
So John the Revelator, he didn't prophesy in the island of Patmos amongst the people. He was just basically declaring the visions that he had, that the Lord has given him. But he's back here all over again in the truth, prophesying amongst the people all over again. All right, because the prophets have always had the visions, and they always had their lot, and their lot was to simply prophesy. And now what we're prophesying about in this day and age, in this revival of this Roman system, is the coming destruction of America, the coming destruction of Esau's rulership, and also the day of the Lord, which is the topic that I'm mainly dealing with. All right, so what you could do, brother, is get me Revelations 1 verse 7. If you have other precepts, finish those.
I had another precept concerning what you were saying. This is 2 Corinthians.
All right.
Because that's off with another brother, because he has more faith. He's looking down on another brother.
Yeah, you ain't supposed to
That's
be doing
not fair. That's not right. Let's go to 2 Corinthians.
Because while you're looking down on that brother, the Lord can take a portion of faith you got and pass it to that brother and have you look stupid. Okay?
Like Elijah and Elisha, give you a double portion of the Spirit.
Yeah, the Lord can take exactly. Because the Lord, man, we have to, like I said, we can't get caught up over ourselves in this thing. Because you have all kind of different ways of how brothers can be. You got brothers that, have the tendency to be very weak, and then you have those that have the tendency to be very proud. You have to balance those things out. You can't be too proud. You can't be too weak, man. All right, because if you're too weak, you're gonna fall out. Most likely, you're gonna fall out into the truth. Anything can come your way, whether it comes to a job, whether it comes to you living in a nice house, or you getting a woman. Those things can leave you back in the world because you're weak. All right, but a brother that's overly confident, he can get too strong and miss the point in time. Instead of looking at the Lord's will, he's looking at himself. He starts doing his own thing. He starts setting up his own camp, and the next thing you know, you don't see this motherfucker no more. And this is the same guy that was talking all kind of shit about the men that taught him the truth. Go on, brother. So the best way to be is to be balanced in this thing. I'm shouting the way that I'm shouting because it's cold as hell out here. Go on, brother.
This is 1 Corinthians.
But then again, it's passion too. Go on, bro.
1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 25, it says, and every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Are you ready earlier?
That's the school.
Man, just say something about it.
Yeah, go on.
If I'm not mistaken, when they say you lose your temper, like you get angry, you lose your temper, I think temper goes back to metalworking, where when a metal reaches a certain temperature, it loses its temper and it starts to melt.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what it means to temper, to keep yourself in check.
Yeah.
So it says,
You're online, isn't it?
yeah, and they didn't do it to obtain.
No,
Now they didn't do it to obtain a
Yeah, because you got guys that use this knowledge and this understanding to gain some kind of thing, and to the point where they become superstars. Everybody knows them. The women are saying, "Shalom, brother, I like the way you teach," and then the men say the same thing. So that's the kind of thing that they're looking for. But you have men that are looking for the incorruptible crown. I want the incorruptible crown. I don't want to be this famous guy. Oh yeah, this guy, he's a damn good teacher, man. Shalom, brother. And then you got women floating around you and stuff like that. I don't want that shit. I want the incorruptible crown. Now, do I want women floating around me? Of course I do. Of course I do, but it's a time and a place for everything. Right now is the time and the place for me to work on my own salvation. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to be distracted. And the reason why I say I ain't got time, because we're in the end of the world. We have very little time. So the very little time that we do have, we need to use that very little time to further this ministry, man. And then later on, we'll have all the time in the world for ourselves, to please ourselves in the kingdom. Then I can get involved with the girlies and all the above, get the women of the other nations. And I can do exactly what I envision of doing in the kingdom, all right? Right now, man, it's work time.
Can I just add on to the brother's point? That's an interesting point you make. It's like the musicians, they go to the Mobile Awards, and that's a corruptible crown. The fighters, Anthony Joshua, he's fighting for that corruptible crown, which is that belt, which ain't even real gold. So how more or less we should be fighting for this incorruptible crown.
Exactly.
Okay, man, I say something. I was watching like talking about Anthony Joshua in the belt. I saw an interview with Mike Tyson, and he had his belts there, and the interviewer was saying, "Oh, these are great. Tell me about these." And Mike Tyson was like, "This is shit. It don't mean nothing."
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, so you saw it too then.
Yeah.
So at least he's smart enough to know that all that training and work he did, ultimately it's all vanity. So
It's vain because at the end of the day, if you look at him, he looks sick. He looks fed up. If you look at like Tyson, he looks like he's been beaten down. But he was this big superstar in the 80s and 90s.
Look, he's back at it again. He's
Oh yeah. He's looking to fight
Roy Jones.
Yeah, Roy Jones. Yeah. He's looking to get back in it, but the man looks depressed, man. All of these boxers that were once stars, they all look beaten down. So again, it's vanity, man. When you do all of this work and you sell your soul to this world, you get nothing back in return, as the scripture says. What would it be if a man were to sell his soul and gain the whole world? What would he get out of it? He would get nothing, because this world, as I've been saying before, is nothing but an illusion that it is something, but it's really nothing. So this is why we must focus on the real substance, which is this truth, this faith. Go on.
I got one. Quick one, yeah?
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 10 and 12 says, I'll start from 11. It says, now all these things happened unto them for an example, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinks he is standing take heed lest he fall.
Yeah. Go on.
Last one. It says, there hath no temptation taken ye, but as such as is common to men, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above all that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
Exactly. So, again, the Lord gives you, when we're dealing with temptations now, He gives you the temptations that you can do, that you can overcome. He's not going to give you things that you can't do. Go on, bro.
If I can make a comment on that 12, it says, wherefore let him that thinks he is standing beware he does not fall. I remember they used to read that in Christian church a lot. And if you use the example of, you mentioned Anthony Joshua, when he went in when he fought Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
You know,
and Ruiz he's good. The guy, man, the guy so the dude, he's sharp, man. The guy's sharp.
He overestimated his own ability, and he underestimated Andy Ruiz. So when he got that wake up call, he learned a lot from it, because it was a wake up call. So confidence is necessary, but at the same time, he really needed to have more respect as well for Andy Ruiz. You know, you can have respect in your own ability. So when you apply it to us now, in this truth now, respect to the Most High, be true to yourself. Yeah. You acknowledge it. I know I've got certain weaknesses, I do, and I try to acknowledge them, and I ask the Most High to compensate me where I'm weak, to help me in what I'm doing. Yeah. And when I have my achievements, I always say give praises. So he says that when he says that wherefore let him that thinks he's standing.
Yeah, read a bit louder.
Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall.
Yeah.
Some of those, what's that guy? The guy who was in the truth for a long time.
Hey brother, you might as well elaborate on the scripture.
The guy in Atlanta, Yahawashi. He was very, very. I used to look at him, watch him a lot. Yeah, the knowledge he had, the confidence, the poise he had, and then come to find out he was pulling the wool over certain people's eyes and doing, but
deceiving brothers, robbing brothers.
And then when he got found out, that was, now he has to go and run and hide, man.
Yeah.
That's an embarrassing situation for him.
Yeah.
But he was overconfident. He had confidence, but it was too much for his own good.
Yeah. And it's like this guy, that certain brothers know, his name was Sarge. And boy, oh boy, man, this guy, he knew the scriptures, man. He had the scriptures down pat. But it's not about knowing the scriptures. It's about having the right attitude. It all boils down to having the right attitude, because you can have general knowledge, but you don't have the Holy Spirit with you. And the reason why the Holy Spirit is not in you, because somewhere down which lies beneath within, there's a malicious soul, as the scripture says.
I've got another precept.
There's I have to quote the scripture, brother. Like the scripture says, wisdom shall not enter a malicious soul. Exactly. Go on.
Luke 23 and 39 says, and one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, if thou be Yahawashi, save thyself.
Yeah.
Save thyself and us. But the But the other answered, rebuked him, saying, Dost not thou fear God, seeing that art in the same condemnation? And he indeed justified justly, and we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward for our deeds, but this man hath done nothing amiss.
Yeah.
And he said unto Yahawashi, Lord, remember me when you come unto thy kingdom.
Yeah, this is the guy that committed the crime during the time of Rome. He went against, he did a crime, and he turned to the Lord and he said, will you have mercy on me, basically.
Yeah, there was all three of them in the line. I'm going to finish it. It says, and he said unto Jesus, Yahawashi, Lord, remember me when you come unto thy kingdom. And Yahawashi said unto him, verily I say unto thee, verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise.
Exactly. So you're gonna have men that have gotten involved with criminal activities, that were gangbangers, that were thugs, and yet and still they're gonna be saved.
Because as you said, is the attitude. It was the attitude that he had.
Exactly.
And he showed respect for Yahawashi, even though he did all what he did in his life, and who knows what he done in his previous life that previous life. But he acknowledged Yahawashi, and he said, and he rebuked the other guy who was mocking Yahawashi on the other end, on the other side. He rebuked him. So he stood for Yahawashi right before he was put to death. He stood up for Yahawashi, the main man. And he got he said, Yahawashi said to him, you're going to be in the paradise now, just for doing that.
That's basically what he did is he knew in his own spirit, because Yahawashi, he could look right through him. Yahawashi knew, hey, Satan, isn't it? That's Satan, man. Yahawashi knew that he was genuine, he was honest. So that's why he made that statement. So it all results back to having the right attitude, man.
So another thing is, where was his works? Someone could say, well,
his works. He didn't go out.
He didn't do no videos.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? The other contrast is doing a whole heap of that and not really having the right attitude towards Yahawashi.
Exactly.
I know some people in the world, which I go on their YouTube channels for information, and we all do it. They've got a whole heap of videos up.
Yeah. And you know too, that's heavy you say that, because there's certain brothers that desire to want to be in the camp. But is it really about being in the camp? Not always necessarily. Because the reason why certain men are in the camp, because they're in that position to do the work. Certain brothers may not be in that position to do the work. All they need to do is simply believe. And once they believe with the right attitude, once again, that one element, having the right attitude, they're part of the elect, because the Lord blessed them with the right attitude. Okay? So if you're meant to be saved, whether you did the work or you didn't do the work, now I'm not going to be pushing this, idea of not doing the work. Yeah. Because that's the main.
There's a balance. There's a balance. Yeah.
It's true. You have to do the work. The Bible requires you to do the work. So, but what I'm saying is this, and I have to be honest, dealing with honesty here. You're going to have men that have not did no works and still be saved. You're going to have people such as women that have gotten into the world of prostitution and will be saved. You understand? So this is the thing. This is not about, and this is why there's no need to be boasting. Oh, I did all of this work. I did this and I did that. It's not a thing about pride. It's what the will of the Lord is. It all results back to the will of the Lord.
That's why the scriptures say there's a thing. They say the Lord say the Lord called me and say we just did that which was commanded of us. We accepted it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not that we're being saved.